Thankfully, here in Florida, we've got a governor who's willing to try to stand up to it, and he is standing up to it. We've got a couple of stories in that regard. In fact, there was a teacher in Duval County who was just terminated recently. Amy D'Onofrio is her name. She was a language arts teacher at Lee High School, that's Robert E. Lee High School in Jacksonville, Florida. And she was terminated, according to our Florida Secretary of Education, Richard Corcoran, for having an entire classroom memorialized to the BLM movement. Now, basically what happened is she had a big flag, in my understanding, she had a big flag on the wall outside the classroom. The superintendent told her she had to take it down, and she absolutely refused, because that's what we do nowadays, I guess. Insubordination is normalized. When you work for somebody, you just tell them, I'm not going to do what you tell me. You can't tell me what to do just because I work for you. Yeah, that's exactly the idea. That's what it means to work for somebody. Anyway, this lady thought she's above what her superintendent said, and she was going to do what she wanted, so she was terminated from classroom instruction. Of course, she's since filed a lawsuit on that. But to read the quote from Governor DeSantis' press secretary, this person says, Governor DeSantis has made clear his position on critical race theory. It is divisive, irrational, and has no place in our classrooms. Critical race theory is rooted in Marxism, an anti-American ideology that has caused untold suffering and death everywhere it has been implemented. Moreover, critical race theory teaches discrimination based on ethnicity and racial background. The governor has zero tolerance for state-sanctioned racism. And parents are positively responding to this move, saying that they want their children to be taught subjects like math, science, language arts, history, and geography, among other important subjects, but not critical race theory in this divide and conquer reality that we seem to be living in. And boy, I'll tell you what, parents are really up in arms about this in various places. We have a parent from Palm Beach County. I just want to play this clip because he went and spoke to the Palm Beach County School Board. And you got to hear the passion in this guy's voice. I mean, talk about going off. This guy is upset, and I think he represents a lot of parents. Listen to the rest of them clapping in the background.
One additional comment. The school board recently adopted an equity statement. Why? Your only job is education, not indoctrination. Attention board members. Our nation is a republic. We are the people. We have a voice. Our votes are our weapons, and we will use them in 2022 and beyond. We in the military, our blood, our sweat is the equity. It is courage, character, not color, not gender, that makes this nation great. Working Americans are united. We are not divided. Stop trying to incite division among us. We are Americans first, and we will be free always.
Woo! Wow. Woo! He was hot. He was hot. It was really something to hear. I don't know how the volume was on that. On my end, it wasn't very high, but best we can do, Pat George.
And talking through that mask.
Oh, I tell you what. And it's coming everywhere, too. I mean, it's just everywhere. We got a story out of the University of Virginia, a medical student who in October of 2018, so this is going back a little ways, there was a program at the university on the subject of microaggressions, which ties right into all of this critical race theory, this divide and conquer, divide everybody by race, call everything an aggression or an oppression, and turn each other against each other. And he had the temerity to ask a question at the end of this presentation. And he said, is it a requirement to be a victim of microaggression that you are a member of a marginalized group? Well, the presenters responded that no, it wasn't a requirement. And he said back to them, well, I think that's contradictory. Now, this is all recorded on audio. So guess what happens after the event? One of the organizers of the event, a professor at the school, files a professionalism concern card about young Kiran Bhattacharya, a med student, and on the card says that this student asked a series of questions that were quite antagonistic toward the panel. He pressed on and stated that one faculty member was being contradictory. His level of frustration/anger seemed to escalate, and I am shocked that a med student would show so little respect toward faculty members. It worries me how he will do on wards. Well, since this was all on tape, it's quite obvious that he never actually lost his temper. But you want to know what happens after a university investigation of all this?
What?
He's suspended from school for aggressive and inappropriate interactions in multiple situations. And on December 30th of 2018, the UVA police order him to leave campus. They threw him off of campus for asking a question, highlighting. Now, I just think he was asking a question. He was engaging the panel. The question happened to highlight the lack of intellectual rigor involved in this concept of microaggressions, and that obviously irritated some people that would be brought to the front, that you could see that their entire basis of their presentation was a complete farce, and they couldn't stand that.
Was this university in China or in Russia?
Virginia, UVA in Virginia. I mean, can you believe it? It's creeping in everywhere. Oh, no. We even just had the American Medical Association released one of its statements. It was a strategic plan where it basically says it's going to set aside the long-held concept of meritocracy in medicine, and instead, guess what concepts it's going to be adopting? Racial justice and health equity. Who knows what that even means? But it says it's going to use its influence to dismantle structural and institutional racism and advance social and racial justice in America's healthcare system. And what does this mean to them? It means seeking to treat everyone the same ignores the historical legacy of disinvestment and deprivation through historical policy and practice of marginalizing and minoritizing communities. So what does that mean? That means it's time for payback, right? They think they've created some wrong that they say has been done in the past, and now they've got to counterbalance that wrong in today's world. And again, all dividing people down among
and that's
going
to be lines. New in the curriculum for the medical university.
That's now what they're focusing on. Forget a meritocracy. Forget who's the better surgeon, who's the better medical student, who's the better doctor. Forget those things. That's not what we're interested in anymore. I mean, when you go to the doctor, you don't want to choose the best doctor, do you? No, you want to fight systemic and structural racism. That's what you want to do when you go to the doctor. When you go to have surgery, your mind is not on hoping that you get the best surgeon that you can possibly find in the area. No. No, your mind is on how can we right the racial wrongs of America's past through my getting surgery, right? Wrong. That's not what you're thinking at all. You, like everyone else, wants the best doctor that you can get a hold of, the best one that you can contract with. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the world that we live in today has been so overtaken by this concept. And remember, critical race theory only came to prominence. It was only really invented about 25 years ago in the scholarship, supposedly. And you got to put quotes around it when you say scholarship, because this is not rigorous academic scholarship. But this concept only arose 25 years ago, and it's taking over now. It's taking over everywhere. The American Medical Association is now going to base its policies on critical race theory. We'll be right back. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.